Hi, and welcome to week 10 of Inside the Huddle. I'm Daily Review sports editor Geoff Stoute, here back at our office alone this week. Just because I'm alone, though, doesn't mean that there's not exciting games. There's plenty of excitement going on this week. First of all, Central Catholic will be meeting Ascension Episcopal in Morgan City on Friday night. For Central Catholic, it's a share of the district title. For Ascension Catholic, it's the Ascension Episcopal, it's the outright district title. Ascension Episcopal enters the game 9-0 overall and 6-0 in district, while Central Catholic is 8-1 overall and 5-1 in district. Like I said, with a win, Ascension Episcopal wins the outright title. Two of the top teams in the state too, in what'll be Division 4 for the select playoffs. Ascension Episcopal is ranked number 2 in the Class 1A playoffs, Class 1A Louisiana Sports Writers Association rankings, which combine select and non-select, while they're the top-ranked team in the latest Division 4 power rankings. Central Catholic is number 7 in the latest Sports Writers rankings and number 5 in the latest power rankings. Ascension Episcopal's offense is led by ULL commit Jake Arsenault, who at quarterback. He has other weapons in running back Jasiri Linzer and wide receivers Zach Ronquillo and Ronald LeBlanc. Linzer has rushed 95 times for 850 yards and 14 touchdowns, while Arsenault is thrown for just about 1,700 yards, 21 touchdowns, and just 3 interceptions. And LeBlanc's caught almost 700 yards and has almost 700 receiving yards and 10 scores, while Ronquillo has 437 receiving yards and 5 touchdowns. Central Catholic, of course, led by Stefano Garisco. He's just about 2,000 yards, 1,994, and 32 touchdowns. Quarterback Blake Byrne is thrown for 804 yards with 10 touchdowns and 8 interceptions, while Greg Leger leads the receivers with 11 catches for 370 yards and 4 touchdowns. And Grisco has also caught 11 passes for 266 yards and 4 scores. So a big game there. And that's just only one of the big games. But before we get to that, obviously, there were some changes this week with bad weather expected Friday. 3 of the 4 games got moved to Thursday. Central Catholic is the lone one that stayed at Friday. But Morgan City's game at Assumption was moved to Thursday. North Vermilion's game with Berwick was the latest one. That was moved this morning. And Patterson and Franklin was moved yesterday as well, along with Morgan City and Assumption. So first of all, we'll start off with Berwick and North Vermilion. That's a huge game for both schools. For Berwick, it's win and you're in for the playoffs. Even if they lose, they might still get in. They're ranked number 30 right now in the latest power rankings. They take the top 32 teams. They were 29 last week. They fell to E.D. White 55-33 and dropped to number 30. So if they win, obviously they're in. If they lose, they just got to sit and sweat it out and see what happens. They come into the game with a 3-6 overall record, 1-4 in district. North Vermilion, on the other hand, comes in with the same identical records, both overall and in district, and they face the same situation. North Vermilion is number 31 in the latest power rankings in Class 3A. A week ago, they fell hard to Patterson, 62-17. Berwick is led this year by quarterback Colin Louviere, who topped the 1,000-yard mark last week. He's thrown for 1,011 yards, 10 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. His top receiver is Aldwin Williams, who's caught 42 passes for 872 yards and 10 touchdowns, while Keenan Jones has also caught 17 passes for 381 yards and 3 scores. Louviere leads the team in rushing 2 with 466 yards and 4 touchdowns. And another game of big implications, Patterson can clinch the outright district title Thursday night with a victory at Franklin. They clinched a share of it last week with the win against North Vermilion. Patterson has won 7 straight games now. They're 7-2 overall and 5-0 in district. Meanwhile, their opponent Franklin is 1-8 overall and 0-5 in district. They have a 6-game losing streak this season. They fell last week to East St. John 36-0. The Lumberjacks this year are explosive on offense, led by quarterback Sebastian Charles. He's thrown for almost 1,600 yards with 22 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. And he's rushed for another 534 and 4 touchdowns. Other top weapons, DJ Jones, Tristan Osama, Nehemiah Augustus. Jones, 497 yards rushing, 7 touchdowns. Another 367 receiving and 4 touchdowns. Osama is 453 rushing and 7 touchdowns, and Augustus 449 receiving and 6 touchdowns. So they got a lot of options, and they can put up a lot of points quickly. The final game this week will be Morgan City against Assumption. Again, that's another Thursday night game. Morgan City comes into this game trying to get something positive to end the season. They're 4-5 overall and 0-4 in district. They started the season 4-0, but since have lost their last 5. And Assumption, meanwhile, will be looking to clinch the outright District 7-4A title. Assumption clinched the share of it last week with a win against South Lafourche, and they're 8-1 overall and 4-0 in district. Morgan City will go into the game led by its run game. Obviously, they're a wing T offense, so they like to run the ball. Features led by Kedrick Scott, Ethan Ciano, and Malik Phillips. Scott's got 436 rushing, 5 touchdowns. Ciano has 331 rushing and 4 scores. And Phillips has 300 yards and 5 touchdowns. Quarterback Abram Hartley, who's really the Tigers have really had to pass more in district, and he's done well. He's passed for 820 yards with 5 touchdowns and 5 interceptions apiece, while Makai Richard, who's really stepped up lately, has caught 453 yards worth of receiving yardage and 4 touchdowns, while Lloyd Singleton has 9 catches for 211 yards. Assumption, meanwhile, is led by its quarterback, Darren Williams, who's rushed for 1,063 yards and 17 touchdowns. They also have 3 running backs that Coach Scott Tragle said are very talented, so like he said, there's 4 options in the backfield they can go with. That's another week of Inside the Huddle. Stay tuned for next week for our first round of the playoffs.